Consider a world where your breakfast strawberries must be precisely diced to identical dimensions, where your bed sheets cost more than a family sedan, and where dollar bills must be ironed before touching your manicured fingers. This wasn't fantasy, but everyday reality for Leona Helmsley, who conducted morning inspections in white gloves while carried between properties in a chauffeur-driven Rolls-Royce worth $350,000. From her 9-room Central Park penthouse, she'd phone hotel kitchens with instructions delivered like military commands, terminating chefs for infractions invisible to ordinary human perception. Her staff developed elaborate warning systems, red alert rippling through service corridors like approaching nuclear disaster, triggering frantic cleaning before her dreaded inspections. The woman worth $5 billion once spent 2 hours berating a housekeeper who missed a single dust bunny beneath a Ming Dynasty vase, all while wearing a $4,000 Chanel suit containing not a thread of human decency. In today's episode of Old Money Allure, we explore how a hatmaker's daughter became America's most feared billionaire, while simultaneously redefining the upper boundaries of both luxury and psychological warfare. Leona Helmsley owned the Empire State Building but couldn't resist stealing 3 $40 bras from a department store, controlled 23 luxury hotels, yet insisted staff iron her dollar bills before handing them to her. From her 9-room Central Park penthouse, she'd phone hotel kitchens demanding precisely diced strawberries, sending them back if they weren't the exact shade of red, all while lounging in a $15,000 gold-threaded bathrobe beneath artwork borrowed from her hotel's presidential suite. The $5 billion Empress, who famously declared only the little people pay taxes, kept a 700-page catalogue of employee infractions meticulously documented beside her $800,000 antique desk, where she'd signed termination notices with a diamond-encrusted pen. Her $5 million diamond necklace required its own armed guard, yet she'd erupt if housekeepers used the wrong $4 furniture polish. A perfect illustration of how her financial extravagance was matched only by her emotional pettiness. While demanding contractors install her $210,000 marble dance floor above her Connecticut mansion swimming pool, she refused to pay their bill, telling one who mentioned his 6 children, "Why didn't he keep his pants on? Then he wouldn't need the money." In her 3,000-square-foot temperature-controlled fur closet protected by a security system costing as much as a suburban home, she'd try on sables while devising new ways to intimidate the 5,000 employees whose livelihoods dangled from her manicured fingertips. Even her Maltese dog Trouble lived better than most Americans, dining on chef-prepared meals served in a $4,000 Tiffany bowl, while Leona fired cafeteria workers for serving vegetables 2 minutes overcooked at her $42 million Helmsley Palace Hotel. Attorney Alan Dershowitz watched in horror as she smashed a teacup because water touched its saucer, then made the trembling waiter kneel to beg for his minimum wage job, revealing how her $4,000 Chanel suit contained not a thread of human decency. Her $30 million annual income couldn't purchase self-awareness, as the woman who owned 16 million square feet of Manhattan real estate once spent 2 hours berating a housekeeper who missed a single dust bunny beneath a Ming Dynasty vase. The Queen of Mean travelled between properties in a chauffeur-driven Rolls-Royce worth $350,000, yet once stopped to personally scream at a store employee for improperly washing a sidewalk. Her infamous morning ritual involved calling managers from her $20,000 gold-leaf telephone to demand occupancy numbers, followed by verbal executions if figures fell below expectations, all while sitting beneath a Renoir painting relocated from a hotel suite. When her only son Jay died of a heart attack at 42, she evicted his grieving widow from a Helmsley-owned apartment within weeks of the funeral, proving that million-dollar views couldn't improve her emotional landscape. The woman who spent $75,000 on a cashmere shopping spree insisted used tea bags be dried and reused in staff cafeterias, proving no fortune could cure her psychological miserliness. Behind her hotel empire's marble facades, Leona charged millions in personal expenses to business accounts. Her $1 million bathroom renovation, $45,000 silver clock, and custom $6,000 bedsheets, transforming corporate ledgers into America's most expensive shopping list. As 1988 dawned, federal prosecutors discovered this habit, ultimately proving the woman worth hundreds of millions had defrauded taxpayers of $4 million, equivalent to a billionaire stealing pocket change, yet committing felonies to do so. Her gold-plated bathtub, purchased with company funds and worth 5 average American annual salaries, would soon be exchanged for a prison shower stall, completing an arc of American ambition so extreme that only by returning to a small Brooklyn hat shop 60 years earlier could anyone possibly make sense of such spectacular avarice. The future Queen of Mean arrived as Lena Mindy Rosenthal on Independence Day 1920, emerging into Depression-era Brooklyn with none of the wealth she would later amass, but all of the ruthless determination that would propel her from a hatmaker's daughter to infamous billionaire. Her father Morris crafted hats for working-class Brooklynites in a small shop that generated just enough income to keep young Lena resentful of their $60 monthly rent, planting seeds of a lifelong wealth obsession. Baby Lena slept in a dresser drawer during her earliest years. The woman who would later insist on $6,000 bedsheets began life without even a proper crib, an origin story she carefully concealed beneath fabricated tales of childhood refinement. The Rosenthal family's struggle against Depression-era poverty was overseen by Lena's mother, Ida, who attacked household dirt with religious fervour, unknowingly programming her daughter with obsessive cleanliness standards that would later terrorise thousands of hotel housekeepers. Young Lena observed neighbourhood economic patterns with keen attention, developing an early understanding of real estate economics that would inform her billion-dollar empire, though certainly not her compassion for others in difficult circumstances. Her education at Abraham Lincoln High School ended early. The future real estate empress found traditional schooling too pedestrian for her ambitions, dropping out to pursue modelling while calculating potential profit margins behind her camera-ready smile. A brief enrolment at Hunter College confirmed her suspicion that succeeding through merit would take too long, as she later admitted to colleagues that she left during her sophomore year because there were quicker ways to achieve success than formal education. Her first reinvention involved shedding Lena Rosenthal for Leona Roberts, her newly sophisticated name landing her modelling jobs with Chesterfield cigarettes, where she pocketed $75 per shoot while developing the smile that would later grace her infamous hotel advertisements. At 19, she married attorney Leo Panzira, a union producing her only child, Jay, and providing 7 years of stability before Leona's ambition overpowered her maternal instincts, leading to divorce and her first taste of real estate through property settlements. Her second husband, garment industry executive Joseph Lubin, represented another calculated upgrade in social status and income bracket, though this union too crumbled under the weight of Leona's unquenchable desire for something with more zeros in its net worth. Twice divorced by 40 and needing financial independence, Leona approached New York's prestigious Pease and Elliman real estate firm in 1962 with zero experience but infinite audacity, talking her way into a receptionist position while privately committing to mastering the industry. Her natural talent for sales emerged immediately as she advanced from answering phones to selling apartments within months, her aggressive confidence and meticured appearance proving irresistible to wealthy clients who found her ambition charming rather than terrifying. She spent $30,000, an astronomical sum in the 60s, on elocution lessons to erase her Brooklyn accent, fashion consultations to perfect her business wardrobe, and strategic socializing to place herself in proximity to New York's real estate elite. Within 7 years, Leona transformed into Manhattan's top-producing real estate agent, earning commissions exceeding $400,000 quarterly, enough to fund her next reinvention as owner of Sutton and Town Residential. Her specialty became converting rent-controlled apartment buildings to luxury cooperatives, a controversial practice that displaced long-time tenants but generated millions in profits, teaching Leona that other people's discomfort could be exceptionally profitable. The elegant business cards she distributed throughout Manhattan's elite circles concealed the ruthless determination behind her carefully cultivated image. Colleagues, noting her exceptional ability to maintain a pleasant demeanor while engaging in the most cutthroat business practices. Her spectacular sales figures attracted attention throughout the industry, including from married real estate tycoon Harry Helmsley, whose vast holdings included over $4 billion in Manhattan property, a fortune that made Leona's achievements seem like pocket change. Their professional chemistry quickly evolved beyond business, with Harry recognizing in Leona the ruthless drive that had fueled his own success, while she eyed his extensive property portfolio with barely disguised hunger, his 33-year marriage representing merely an inconvenient clause in a contract awaiting renegotiation. Harry Helmsley discarded his wife of 33 years in 1971, clearing the path for his April 8, 1972, marriage to Leona, merging his $4 billion real estate portfolio with her boundless capacity for terrorizing employees. Their honeymoon lasted approximately 3 business days before Leona began restructuring Harry's hospitality division, convincing him to purchase the struggling St. Moritz Hotel as her personal laboratory for perfecting management by fear techniques. Hotel employees developed an elaborate warning system rivaling military defense protocols. Code phrases like "Red Alert" or "The Queen approaches" would ripple through service corridors, triggering frantic cleaning and flower replacements before her dreaded inspections. The couple expanded their holdings rapidly, with Leona insisting her name appear on buildings in gold lettering 20% larger than Harry's. A subtle architectural manifestation of the power balance shifting within their marriage. Their crown jewel, the 1926 landmark New York Central building, underwent a $42 million renovation and reopened as the Helmsley Palace Hotel, with Leona selecting every fabric, fixture and staff uniform while vetoing employees who failed to demonstrate adequate terror during interviews. Leona cultivated her queen persona through a $1 million advertising campaign featuring herself in designer suits against palace hotel backdrops, gazing imperiously into the camera while promising, "It's the only palace in the world where the Queen stands guard." Behind this carefully crafted image lurked increasingly bizarre management practices. She once ordered all Helmsley Palace restaurant menus reprinted because the typeface appeared too masculine, costing thousands while demanding employees reuse paperclips to save money. Her hotel inspection methodology involved white cotton gloves she would drag across surfaces while maintaining eye contact with trembling staff members, sometimes visiting guest rooms at 3 a.m. to ensure dust hadn't settled since the previous day's cleaning. Former employees recounted how Leona would monitor the hotel's kitchen operations with militant precision, once sending back a cup of tea 4 consecutive times because it wasn't hot enough, while simultaneously cutting staff meal budgets to levels that required cafeteria workers to reuse tea bags. The $35,000 annual salary she offered executive positions came with unwritten job requirements, including 24-hour availability, absolute loyalty, and willingness to tolerate unpredictable rages. Benefits packages did not include mental health coverage, despite the obvious need. As Harry's health declined throughout the 1980s, Leona's power grew inversely, with long-time Helmsley executives finding themselves marginalized or terminated, replaced by individuals whose primary qualification was unwavering obedience. The Helmsley Palace's restaurant Vivaldi earned a reputation for excellent cuisine and terrifying unpredictability, as diners might witness Leona publicly berating servers for infractions like delivering water with insufficient bubbles or walking too loudly across her $40,000 imported carpet. Personal tragedy struck in 1982 when her only son Jay died of a heart attack at 42. Leona responded by having his office cleaned out before his funeral and serving his widow eviction papers within weeks. Her expanding empire required a suitably royal residence, prompting the purchase of Dunellan Hall, a 28-room Greenwich mansion on 40 acres, featuring multiple swimming pools, a movie theatre, and formal gardens, which Leona began renovating with corporate funds. The mansion renovation would become her undoing when contractors, frustrated by her refusal to pay their bills despite installing gold bathroom fixtures at 30 times the cost of standard hardware, leaked financial documents to the New York Post revealing millions in personal expenses fraudulently billed to Helmsley companies. These leaked documents caught the attention of ambitious prosecutors, including future New York Mayor Rudolph Giuliani, who launched an investigation into what would prove America's most glamorous tax fraud case. As investigators closed in, Leona maintained her imperious public persona, appearing in television commercials as the demanding hotel perfectionist while privately attempting to manipulate records, intimidate witnesses, and construct elaborate justifications for charging her $600 gold-threaded toilet paper holder to corporate accounts. The woman who once fired a housekeeper for missing a single dead fly behind a curtain now faced justice wielding a far more powerful magnifying glass than her infamous white gloves. The full investigative resources of the Internal Revenue Service about to reveal just how dirty the Queen's financial laundry had become. Leona Helmsley's 1989 tax fraud trial featured 19 former employees testifying against her, each recounting tales of cruelty so spectacular that prosecutors worried jurors might dismiss them as exaggerations. The prosecution assembled an accounting masterpiece, revealing how she'd billed millions in personal expenses to her businesses, from her $200,000 shoe collection, classified as uniform expenses, to her $60,000 birthday party, for Harry categorized as a business meeting. While Harry's lawyers successfully argued his declining mental state made him unfit for trial, Leona faced justice alone in designer suits that cost more than the annual salary of everyone in the jury box combined. The trial's defining moment came when former housekeeper Elizabeth Baum testified that Leona once declared, "Only the little people pay taxes." A 7-word epitaph for her reputation that prosecutors had gold-stamped onto evidence binders. Her legal team's defense strategy centered on portraying Leona as a devoted wife who simply signed whatever documents her husband and financial advisors placed before her, an absurd characterization instantly recognized as fictional by anyone who'd encountered her legendary micromanagement. After an 8-week trial featuring 45 witnesses and 2,000 exhibits documenting her creative accounting practices, the jury convicted Leona on 33 federal counts, including tax evasion, mail fraud, and conspiracy. Before sentencing, Leona attempted to humanize herself through charitable contributions, including a $10 million bailout of Holocaust survivor pensions, efforts the judge noted while still imposing significant prison time. Judge John Walker sentenced her to 4 years imprisonment plus 750 hours of community service and $7 million in fines, a punishment reduced on appeal to 19 months, which she began serving on April 15, 1992, tax day. Federal prisoner 15,977 traded her Park Avenue penthouse for a 6-by-8-foot cell at Federal Prison Camp in Danbury, Connecticut, where her daily schedule included cleaning bathrooms, an ironic fate for someone who once fired housekeepers for using the wrong temperature water. Fellow inmates observed her struggles to adapt to prison life, noting her continued imperious attitude as she attempted to receive special treatment based on her former status, requests consistently denied by prison officials. After serving 16 months, Leona returned to freedom in January 1994, emerging into a $350,000 armor-plated limousine, wearing a mink coat over designer clothing, having arranged for professional hair and makeup services prior to facing news cameras. Harry Helmsley's death in 1997 at age 87 left Leona his entire fortune, estimated between $5 and $10 billion, including 16 million square feet of New York City real estate and hotels in multiple states. The newly widowed billionaire found companionship primarily with her Maltese dog Trouble, who received chef-prepared meals of crab cakes and steamed vegetables prepared by a full-time cook, earning $90,000 annually. Her isolation intensified after a 2002 lawsuit in which former employee Charles Bell successfully sued her for discrimination, with testimony from numerous witnesses painting a consistent picture of a hostile work environment that ultimately cost her $554,000. As her final years progressed, Leona occasionally revealed glimpses of humanity through donations, including $5 million to families of firefighters and police officers after September 11th, a charitable act made without press releases or public announcements. Leona Helmsley died of heart failure on August 20, 2007, at age 87 in her Connecticut mansion, ending a life that had transformed from absolute poverty to astronomical wealth. Her death unleashed a final scandalous chapter through her bizarre will, which left $12 million to her dog Trouble, while completely disinheriting 2 grandchildren for reasons known to them. The Canine Trust Fund later reduced to $2 million by a judge. The will's most surprising provision directed the majority of her fortune, estimated between $4 and $8 billion, to establish the Leona M. and Harry B. Helmsley Charitable Trust, an organization that has since become one of America's largest philanthropic foundations. Trouble lived out its remaining days at the Helmsley Sandcastle Hotel in Florida, protected by a security team costing $300,000 annually due to numerous death and kidnapping threats. Possibly the only dog in history requiring witness protection, while its owner's foundation simultaneously funded charitable initiatives worldwide. And now I'd love to see you in the comments. What surprised you most about Leona Helmsley's life story? Her rise from poverty, her extreme behavior, or her decision to leave billions to charity? I can't wait to hear from you. And thanks for joining me for another episode of Old Money Allure. Cheers!